It's a lifelong change. In order to sustain it, you have to have that mind shift of why am I doing this? What is my end goal? Where do I want to be? Moving your body every day is a commitment to yourself.
Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Ashley, and today I'm joined by Rachael Brown, personal trainer and strength coach with over 20 years in the fitness industry, also a mom of three, and somebody I am fortunate to call my friend. Rachael has personally made a difference in my own approach to health and wellness this year. So, really excited to bring her on for a conversation around women's health, strength training, and some of the myths that we can easily fall into when it comes to our personal fitness and working out. So, in this conversation, we'll be talking about how to optimize your training for your season of life, building strength in a sustainable way, and also rethink some of the common narratives around fitness so that you can actually work with your body instead of against it. So, with that, Rachael, welcome to the podcast. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. This is such a pleasure, and I like doing things outside of my comfort zone. And you have inspired me to and pushed me to do that. So you are coaching me through it, and I love it. I appreciate you.
So, I want to give a little context for this conversation and how it came to be. I actually reached out to you back in early January of this year, and I was asking if you were taking on new personal training clients. And I still have the message. You're like, yeah, feel free to give them my information. And I was like, actually, I am asking for myself. So yeah, but what came of that was really an honest conversation just about where I was in my journey. And as you know, I was and still like to say that I am an athlete. So growing up,
Once an athlete, always an athlete.
that's it, right? So growing up, always training for sport and training for competition and high performance, and that mindset is something that has always just really stuck. And doing the most in the gym, pushing myself really hard until I got injured and, and was dealing with some of these challenges, and eventually had the shoulder surgery a few years ago. And then it was really at that time that it was hard to kind of dig myself out of this hole that I found myself in. I was also approaching 30 and my body was changing, and I kind of just felt stuck and noticing energy dips and not really paying attention to what it was that I was eating or how I was fueling myself. And so I came to you with all of that, with my history and my stage in life and running on black coffee and not eating until noon and then just feeling all over the place. So what does that signal to you from a health and training perspective when coming to you with all this information, or someone you're working with, where it's like, hey, why does that context matter? First of all, what does it tell you? And then I guess the question is like, where does it tell you then that we need to start whenever you just have all this information about somebody?
Yeah, it's a lot, right? And that's why it's a personal training. You really try to dive in and get the big picture. Where did you start? Everybody has a starting point when it comes to their fitness. And especially as an athlete, that's a huge identity for us for such a long time. And then life happens. So usually when people are coming to me with strength and wellness goals, they either have been to that prime at some point in their life and want to get back there, or they are ready for a big something big in their life has happened. They've gotten osteopenia, they have had a stroke, their loved one has had cancer, they've been a caregiver, neglecting themselves for 10 years, whatever it may be, there's always this aha starting moment for most people, and that's what I feel like makes personal training different than group training, right? You're able to get those stories. You get the foundation of how the house is built, and then you start peeling back those layers, and then that's the fun part because now I, in my mind, everything is related to movement and health and wellness. How do I get you feeling better through movement? And when I see somebody that is doing all the things, is very active, is in their prime of their career, has a lot of things going on, the last thing I want to do is make the fitness something that's going to create more stress, more anxiety, more layers of to-do-ness, like we got to find enjoyment. We got to get back to the things that you love. We gotta keep it simple, and we just gotta start small, and that's why I always tell people, "I need you to commit to at least 3 months or 90 days." Like, ideally, if I had it my way, I'd be like, "You have to work with me for a year, bottom line." Like, I gotta date you for 3 weeks beforehand to check your eating habits and check your sleep schedule, but it is a commitment because it's a lifelong change. In order to sustain it, you have to have that mind shift of why am I doing this? What is my end goal? Where do I want to be? And in the beginning, the first couple conversations, you might not get that with somebody. But after checking in on them daily and working with them every week, having a check in call and working with them for you know, over 100 days, you start to really dive into those whys and the big picture of, oh my gosh, this is how my body moves, right? This is how I feel good. Like I want to continue doing this. And today it might be going to the gym. Tomorrow it might be going to pickleball. But again, you're enjoying loving moving your body because you're feeling good and you're doing the right things and you're eating the right way, all of that starts to pile on top of each other. And then you start rebuilding that foundation in that house. And then now it's just, you just got to keep it going, and keeping care of it and maintaining it. But we all have a journey. And that's what's just so great about what I do is because I get to have that journey with everybody. And what I've always loved about personal training is that you're teaching somebody about their body. It's at the end of the day, it's out there. Everybody's written about it. Everybody has their own method or whatnot. It's like you got to eat, you got to sleep, you got to minimize your stress, you gotta move your body, like, there's no mag there is a magic formula, but it's different for everybody, and you gotta find that one thing that works for you and that works good for you in that season of life. Yeah, and I think that's where you struggled with a lot in the beginning too, was like, "I feel like I should do this, but my body's telling me this, but my brain and my environment is telling me to do this." You were so torn on what to do in the beginning. Remember that?
Yeah, 100%. And in a way, it was kind of embarrassing because being an athlete, doing all this, also training myself, like training, coaching as well, and being in this, and then finding myself in a space where I'm just like, I don't even know like how to approach my own fitness right now. I don't know what it is that I need. There's all these options everywhere. I mean, there's influence everywhere. You can go to this gym and you could do this, or you could go this, or you could do this, or you could do that. And you're like, part of me wants to compete still and do this, but do I actually need that? The last time I did this, I got injured and I'm in the hospital. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm also
You're
a
like
therapist.
creaking, you're just like after your workout, you're like, ugh, you can't move for 3 days, 5 days. And you're like, was that all worth it?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. I'm like, I don't feel good. My energy, why am I, it's like, okay, I would be fueled on black coffee from, 7 a.m. until 11:30. Then I'm super hungry. Then I'm eating an acai bowl that has 65 grams of sugar in it. And then I'm crashing at 2 p.m. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
Rachel, help me, help me. And I love what you talk about, like your whole philosophy around sustainability and longevity, right? How can we make this so it's an enjoyable process? I obviously love fitness. I love being active. I love being out there doing the things I want to do. And so, how can I just like work with myself in that way where I don't feel like this is a chore? And so I love that approach because I told you certain things. I was like, I'm not, if you're going to tell me I can't have my coffee, like this isn't going to work.
I'm not gonna do that. I was like, "No, let's have some real food beforehand. Put something in there before the coffee."
Totally, and we've been having these conversations, and, like, one of the biggest shifts that I've experienced is just in my nutrition and how I'm seeing this because, again, now I'm waking up and I'm fueling my body, I'm fueling myself for that workout, I'm crushing the workout, then I'm eating a breakfast. I haven't done this in years, you know? And
Yeah.
then I see how my energy has sustained throughout the day, and maybe that's something that, we can neglect, right? How often do you see that with people where it's like they just think, "Okay, just gym, 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 work so hard," and it's like, yeah, but how effective is that if you don't have this other piece of the puzzle?
Yeah, what is the point of lifting all that heavy weight if you're not giving that muscle any nutrients to grow? I have this conversation all the time because you get them there for that 1 hour and then it's like, okay, they're leaving and they're like, I gotta go run this errand, I gotta go run this errand. It's like, wait, 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 wait. You need to go eat something. You gotta fuel your body. When was the last time you ate? I've been fasting all day. And it's like, okay, that's that's 90%. What you put in your body is going to affect your mood, your hormones, your energy, your sleep, all of it. The hardest thing is for most people is just doing the workout. You've just done the hardest thing. Just go eat something. Most people can't stop eating. So I'm just like, but we, but again, I feel like they're like, oh, well, I just worked so hard. I don't want to go sabotage it with a meal. But it's like, no, if you're eating the right things and if you're getting the whole foods, really, it's a complete game changer, right? You look at a plate of 500 calories of real food, it's gonna look a lot different than a Big Mac and a large soda, you know?
Totally.
So, it's really the awareness and being like, "Okay," and that's where the journaling came in, which is so important, what I make you do in the beginning because you need to, 1, create those plates, see that in front of you, track it, look at those macros, and then that just brings that awareness to it all. And then you're in your 30s. I'm in my 40s, my early 40s. Nutrition and hormone health go hand in hand. You cannot think you're not gonna have hormone dysfunction if you do not eat enough protein and you don't eat enough fat. You women, we need those in our every single meal in order to keep our levels leveled, or and not we're gonna be on this roller coaster. So and then especially as you age, that is what ends up happening, that visceral fat, that those things that affect that blood sugar. If you get into the habit of doing it now, it's gonna make it a lot easier later in life.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we talk a lot about working with my body, not against it, right? Why is that so hard for women? And where does comparison come into all of this, especially when there's so many different, options and boutique gyms and training methods and things that we see on social media of what to do and how to do it? Why is it so hard to see that you are your unique self and what you need is different from somebody? Where does that all kind of come into play? And how can we get out of that loop?
It's a hard loop, and I think women especially have been in that loop forever, in body images and, young girls just growing up with this people are trying to make money, and whatever is gonna sell those books or sell that diet is gonna be the thing that's gonna get the reels and the looks and the likes and all of that stuff, and that's kinda just a hard place where society is, but if you find the love for movement and taking care of yourself, it's not gonna matter what that movement is. Like, you kinda get to a place where you're just like, "I know I'm an athlete. I know I enjoy movement and fitness, and I'm gonna do it every day, and every day it might look different. It might
Mm,
be mulching my yard. It might be able to organize my garage, that day and be able to move my body and help care for somebody. That's still movement. That's still activity. It might not be going to take an F45 class or the newest Pilates thing, but it's definitely moving your body with intention and with a purpose. And I think you really start to make that shift once you've devoted yourself into a routine. You
mm.
have to commit to a routine in the beginning. And That's why I've always loved sports. It's because it gives you that commitment. You know, you're committing to a team, you're committing to yourself, to other players, and for a season. And that's what I love youth sports teach you because then that then carries you on to your career, to your marriage. You know, it shows that you can commit to something. And I believe moving your body every day is a commitment to yourself and to your love for your body and for your well-being. And if you find something that you love, it won't be so much about, okay, I'm going to do the coolest bad thing. You're not gonna be so tempted by all those stuff either because you're gonna know what works for you. Like, I know what works for me. I know going to the gym 3 days a week and lifting really heavy is gonna keep my body the look that I want.
Mm.
And I also know if I'm gonna start up running, I'm gonna say goodbye to all my curves and I'm gonna lose it, you know? So there's just like but again, that's years of being in this forever. Where other people, they see that, "Oh my gosh, I wanna look like a Pure Barre athlete. This is what they do every day. I must look like that," or, "I wanna look like a CrossFit athlete. I need to do this in order to look like that," and that's again, that's the feed, that's what they want you to believe. Again, it takes years of dedication for someone to have washboard abs like
Yeah.
a CrossFit athlete, you know, and your dedication to their diet. It doesn't just happen overnight. But if it if it gives you that connection and gets you excited to work out and keeps you in the gym, that's great, but you gotta be smart about it. And I feel like for women, we for the longest time, were like, "I don't wanna get big and bulky. I don't wanna look that way." And weights are just they're intimidating, or the gyms are intimidating. A lot of gyms
Mm.
are more especially free weights, there's
Yeah.
much more males in that area than women, and so you just feel not as safe in the gym environment, right?
Yeah.
We kinda talked about that.
Yeah. I mean, and I think in a way too, it can be a distraction to yourself, right? And you don't even know what it is that your goals are, or you think, okay, I'm seeing everything like this happening around me. I should be doing that. Or you're doing deadlifts, or you're doing something, and someone's like, oh, like that's all like, you can't do. And then you feel like you're like competing, and then I'm hurting my back, and then I'm doing an exercise where I'm dislocating my shoulder. What, for the sake of being like, look, I'm proving something to you? No one cares. And now it's at my own expense. And then I'm finding myself with a sling and not able to do anything for 6 months. Joke's on me.
Yeah, because I pushed myself too hard, like, I'm just not interested in doing that anymore.
Yeah,
And a
yeah, yeah, totally.
And I also think that but that also comes with awareness,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You doing those hard things, putting yourself under that tension, creating
Mm.
that resistance, not only amongst the weight, but in the ground and all of that to connect, to push yourself. And you need to push yourself in the gym. If you're not pushing yourself in the gym, you're not going to change. But that's through life, period. That's that should be applied in anything. If your partner isn't pushing you to be a better person, is same thing, you know? You should be striving to be a little bit better each time you go into that gym. You should strive to go a little bit heavier each time on those lifts. That is my goal in life, is to have as much muscle on my body when I am aging because I know that's what's going to keep me moving, keep me healthy, and keeping me living a long, active life. And I think as this new wave of body changes that is happening, I do think we are probably a light years ahead of where I was growing up. Like, we grew up with, like, the stick thing and Kate Mosses and stuff where my daughter is seeing all different sizes, and we're in Florida, everybody's in a bathing suit, you know? She's seeing it all, and I think that's great because there is a place for muscle now more so than there was in the past, and there is so much more information in women's health than there ever has been in the past. But I do think women need to and people in general, men and women, need to really focus on what they want in life and how they want their bodies to move and feel and stop worrying about what everyone else wants. And I come from the corrective exercise background. So I'm seeing people that have had injuries or knee replacements or hip replacements or have fallen or have neuropathy. So they have a lot of limitations. And so we're doing a lot of imbalance work and corrective work to make them be more symmetrical, you know? And then my love for just strength training in general is more my, I guess, cup of tea because you are gonna be sore, but you're not gonna be so sore you can't move it like
Yeah.
the next day, you know what I mean? Like, it's a muscle soreness, it's not your joints are about to explode, you know? It's completely different. So it's just, again, finding what works best for you and that brings you enjoyment in the gym, and I think once you get older and experience more, you realize that stuff and you kinda stop caring, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you see yourself and you see your capacity, and you can, when you have that awareness of what it is that you need, and also recognizing where it is that you are, and just, in that current stage of time, are there stressors in your life? Are there things that are going on? Because another thing, too, that we really dove into in this process together, well, because my workout shifted a bit and I am not used to being in the gym for an hour, and I'm not used to slowing down. I love high intensity interval training, but one thing that we talked about was just the amount of stress that was going on at the time, that this is like stress, okay? And you really helped me to understand just this compounding effect that it can have when you are under stress, and how it can actually be counterproductive to my health, for me, in what's going on in my life. So, can you explain that a bit, or just talk about the benefit of slowing down, especially when you are under an amount of stress?
Yeah, we focused on that with you a lot because you are one of those go, go, go people, high achiever, and you're already running on high octane. And then also because we were trying to create more balance, especially that central nervous system. So, how can I get you to elongate your workout, get yourself to push yourself on your strength. So we dialed back. We went back to the stabilizing machines. Like, I didn't even really have you start doing single leg work until I think week 8 or 6 that I put Bulgarian split squats
Mhm.
in there, but it was like, okay, I'm going to just make her go 4 to 5 sets, go as heavy as she can, really have to slow down, connect with your breath, and get those endorphins back and help you regulate those hormones and not put you in such a fight or flight manner of what you were in with your workouts. Because I know what you were doing. You were going hard and running on coffee and depleted, the whole time. And then afterwards, hitting a midday crash. So by fueling yourself, having you slow down and really work on the muscle, we got that muscle's there. It's just been undernourished, underfueled,
Yeah.
dehydrated, and under rest for a long
I
time.
haven't even talked about hydration yet.
Right? And so that's kind of the thing, the butter of it all is like the muscle is so pliable. We just got to put it under that tension, and the best way to put it under that tension is by getting you on those stabilizing machines and letting you really try to go heavy in the gym. Give yourself an hour, give yourself 2 to 3 movements and just go as hard as you can and try to go to failure, and your body responded really well to it, especially once we started implementing the hydration and the food. So, I'm not saying it works for everybody, but for people that are very much in a go, 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 all or nothing mindset or have very hectic lives, there's amazing things you can do by slowing yourself down.
Yeah, I mean, that's been super powerful for me, and mentally as well too, just kind of slowing down, where it's like you're working your body physically and you're mentally slowing down, versus just like when I found myself kind of going to the extremes or going so hard, then you have this like up
You
and down.
burn out.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
It's not sustainable. You can't just
yeah,
keep going. Something's
yeah.
gonna happen. You're gonna get injured. You're gonna get sick. You're gonna pull something or you're gonna snap. And I think for women especially, we're used to going and going and piling on more stress. But your workouts shouldn't be that way. It should be something that brings you joy, and then afterwards you feel good. Like if you're not feeling good after a workout, then you're something's not right. Either your food it wasn't right, your sleep wasn't right, or you just maybe pushed yourself too hard. Like I'm just not interested in my clients feeling that way because I want you to feel good. This should be something that should be making you feel better every single day, and especially through that movement because you're going to stick with it. You're not going to stick with something you're that makes you feel miserable unless unless you're into that stuff, you know? To each
No, for
their
sure.
own.
I think too when we first had this conversation, one of the things I remember telling you was just like, yeah, I felt kind of stuck and just kind of stagnant in my approach, and also it's just random, right? And it's just like everything I was doing was just random. Like, yeah, if I felt okay, I'll go and it's just random. And there was no consistency in that. And that's also why I was experiencing what I was experiencing and why I was just kind of up and down because of the
Yep.
randomness, right? And it was just this like we know with anything, right? Random, what's the quote?
Random
Random.
results will randomness will create random results, right? It's
Exactly, and that's exactly what I fell into in that way, and I think that that's such a big takeaway, right? Is no matter what it is, whether it's in fitness or whatever it is we're doing in life, like, if we approach it with a randomness, you're gonna get random results. Random input is random output. I don't know how to
yeah.
say it, right? But it's the truth. But when you go in with a level of, intention and consistency, like, then you see those compounding effects over time.
Well, that's why it's sticking with that why. Like, why are you doing this? What is the big picture? And for you, it was to feel better, you know? You
Yeah,
were wanting
honestly.
you were at your boiling point at that point of you knew it needed to be focused on. You couldn't live off of coffee and but it was something that was so easy to fall back into. So it was finally you were at a breaking point of I'm doing this to feel better because I want X, Y, and Z. And now you know how much better you feel by making it a natural habit at this point. It is a you have created that new habit, which is a very hard thing to do, and people don't like doing hard things. We know this, right? We always want to find the easy way, but sticking with it, creating that awareness in everything that you're doing with getting up and not feeling yourself. Now you feel yourself. You know you're going to feel better if you feel yourself. You know you're going to get better if you do these type of workouts when you're at this time in your day or on stress level or vacationing and stuff. It's that awareness, which is so important. And I think with some people is they ignore a lot of those signs. They ignore the sleeping dysfunction. They ignore their mood snaps with their loved one and their hormonal changes. And because it's just like, oh, I'm stressed, or check it up there with something else, and that's what I got to do. And it's no, it's okay. It's okay to get help and get a coach and spend time to work on yourself and create those good habits and get back on track and get some tools in your toolbox to help you stay on track if you ever get off track
Yeah.
and work towards the long-term why and stay in it. And that's for some people, it's very overwhelming. And like you said in the beginning, it was a laundry list of, oh, like I got this X, Y, and Z going on. And it's like, okay, let's take it one layer at a time. We can do this. But it takes a commitment, not just, okay, a quick fix or a quick pill. It's really all of that is, okay, I'm gonna commit up to it and work on it every single day. Meal prep, plan out my week, set myself up for success. And you did it, and you are a great patient in that way because y testament to it, you know?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think one of the things too I wanted to emphasize as well that has been super helpful in this process, as I don't want to say as annoying as it was, but the logging and the journaling and the keeping track of what it is that I was doing along the way. Because like we were saying, for me, it's like another step, right? Where it's like, okay, so I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do the workouts, I'm gonna do this, but then I have to like track all the things that I'm
Reflect.
doing. Yeah, like
I have to look back on this.
let me just do the thing. I already have enough reflection and journaling in my life outside of fitness. I don't need that to become to enter into that space. But I will say it has made all of the difference in that because again, going back to what you're saying earlier, it's the awareness, right? So then it allowed me to actually see it. Like, yes, I know, okay, I'm cognizant of what I'm putting in my body, but also am I really aware? And then when you look at it and you see it like, okay, the numbers don't lie. Am I hitting, you know, those macros? Why am I feeling this way? Okay, well, let me go and check to see what it is I was actually consuming today. Okay, well, maybe that's why, because I didn't eat anything, you know?
Yeah,
So it really, I think that I want to really emphasize because it is maybe another step in it, but it's those things that really can make all the difference. And I think about the same thing whenever I had the shoulder surgery and a friend of mine who had like multiple surgeries, and now I was having conversation with her just about the recovery process, and she told me the biggest difference is going to be in that PT, those mundane exercises that like you don't want to do,
yeah,
but that's going to make all the difference later on. And when I was going through that process and I was doing the pulley exercises and these things where I'm just increasing my range of motion like inch by inch, I'm like, this sucks. But then that was just in the back of my head where I was like, "This is the thing that makes all the difference."
exactly. Oh, and that's how it is with the journaling and the food logging. It is a necessary evil if you want to bring awareness to what you eat.
Mm,
I remember back in the day, I'd have my clients come in and they'd have to journal it. And just like there weren't apps, there weren't phones to
mm,
do it, and then
yeah,
they would sit there on their treadmill, and we do group sessions, and we're all just reading everybody's journal. We're like, "Oh, what'd you have last night?" "Bottle
yeah,
of red wine," and you know what I mean? It's just like, you just be aware, and it's like, sometimes people will tell you everything, and then sometimes they'll be like, "I only had what? You only had 1? You sure you
yeah,
only had 1?" Kind of
yeah,
thing, but it brings awareness to it all, and with that awareness will come habit change if you're willing to make the habit change, and, you gotta meet people where they're at. Some people say they're ready, but they're not really ready, and that's the other thing too. You know when someone's ready, when you're like, "Okay, I'll work with you, but you need a track for 3 weeks." And they're like,
yeah.
"What?"
I didn't sign up for that.
Pictures of everything.
Yeah, but it makes all the difference. And then I think too, you can look at yourself and be proud of yourself because you know that it's like, you think just like in any kind of process, it's not just one thing. It's the little steps along the way. It's like the little goals within the larger goal. And
It's
you
like
can
life. Yeah.
totally. And you can be proud of yourself and you feel that sense of accomplishment because you're like, yeah, I got to this point, but what are all the things I had to do to get there? And really see that. And then and how does that then apply into other areas of your life? Because it does. It's like anything that we approach, right? In the process. What do you say to somebody who wants to really work towards building a sustainable approach to fitness?
Great question. I think it kind of just relates to everything that we've talked about already about, find what brings you joy. If you can incorporate that, if that's being with a friend, ask that friend to be your gym buddy, for 1 hour a day and say, let's go to the gym, let's lift weights or take this class together. If it's playing with your kids, can you guys go play pickleball or tennis or something that you gotta do it for an hour. You gotta get or at least 20 minutes, and then, that rule of thumb is do it at least for 10 minutes, and then you'll end up doing it for an hour. Give yourself an hour. You deserve an hour to move your body with purpose and intention, and give it your all when you're doing that. Like, when I play soccer with my kids, I pretend like I am Mia Hamm. I am going out there, I am running my butt off. I'm giving full effort. Should be the same way when you go to the gym, give full effort to that thing. But for women especially, if you want to have less highs and lows, more sustainability, more energy, better mood, you have to put the gym in there. There has to be resistance training. So getting yourself a trainer you that knows your body, that is where you're at, that somebody like I'm not saying anything's bad with a 23-year-old trainer. There's nothing. Like they are hungry, they got their hours down, they will show up to work for you. But I being with somebody that's a woman that has been through 3 kids, you know what I mean? Like I find myself inspired more so by those people because they've been down the road that I've been down, you know? So find somebody that relates or that you look up to, that you feel that you can really fully trust because it is a process and you need to really be honest with not just yourself, but with your trainer and something that you got to work at every single day. And that's how you get better and build better lean muscle too. So finding somebody that you have that connection with, that pushes you to show up, that brings you joy is really important. I've had one of my longest clients, I've had her for 15 years. It's just, you know, they become your family. You look forward to it every Monday and Tuesday or Wednesday, Thursday. You know what I mean? It's just like something that you just do. But that's why I love personal training. I can never see myself not doing it because of that relationship
Mhm.
you do build with people because movement is medicine.
Yeah.
You wanna take care of yourself for the rest of your life, you need to keep moving. There's no way around it. So, move with purpose, move with intention, and make yourself feel good. If that's through dance, if that's through weights, whatever it is, you just need to commit to doing it every single day, and you will get benefits from it. But women especially, we cannot be scared of being in the gym. It's a must.
Thank you so much, Rachel. This has been awesome. And again, I can't thank you enough for your partnership and work with me. As I said, like it has made such a huge difference. You know that. And yeah, I mean, to your point about trusting the person that you're working with, I mean, it's why I specifically went to you and knowing that I could be open and honest with you about like, hey, this is where I'm at. You know that I was an athlete, still an athlete. You know these things about me. You know that I can go hard in the gym. I know how to lift weights, right? But it's like I need you to come alongside me in this, and I need you to help me help myself and all these things that you've done in the process with me and kept me accountable along the way, and it's made a huge difference, and you know this. But yeah, I mean, I'll say it again
Thank
and
you.
again and again. So
Well, you did all the hard work, and I appreciate all your kind words about it, and that's why I love it and I do it, and I think that's what is different with working with a trainer than working with an app. Like, I've had people that have come to me that have used other apps and Noons or whatever that thing is. It's like still you're checking in with it something, but you're not are you really connecting, right? Are you able to have those conversations about the uncomfortable topics, or maybe the things you don't really wanna share, but, you
yeah.
know, it's important, you know?
It is. It is. I mean, we've went in some directions as well too, and it's like, "Hey, you know what? That's this is what it is, okay?" And
Yep,
it's
it's life.
holistic and it's life. It's life. It's life. So, thank you so much. This has been awesome. Really appreciate you. For those listening, if you wanna connect with Rachel, you can go to bodybybrown.com, right?
Bodybybrownfitness.com, yes,
Bodybybrownfitness.com.
yes.
There
Thank
it
you
is.
so much. I'm so
Yes.
proud of you. Keep it up. Thank you so
Thanks,
much for
Rachel.
doing this.